Hey, it's time that we ask for what we need. Are you able to do that? Are you assertive? Do you feel like that being assertive is not a good thing? It does get a bad rap. So we're going to talk about that this morning for just for today. It's time that we ask for what we need. We way too many times sit back, good morning, Roberta, and think people read our minds. Even in recovery, this is a very difficult thing for us to really ask for what we need. So if you're not getting your needs met within a relationship, within your job, then guess what? You are not asking for what you need, right? And we're going to talk about that this morning about what that's about, how to do it. And it's probably going to be a two-parter. We'll finish up on Friday, but today I want you to consider, even if it's just for today, what your style is. Where are you with really being able to communicate your needs? Some of us have been in recovery for a while. Some of us are new to recovery, but this is one of the areas that we can find folks in recovery who still struggle with being able to ask for what they need. And it causes a lot of stress and heartache and resentment and our expectations, right? Get us in trouble. And we think people can read our mind and just know. So just for today, I want you to hang in there with me and see if you are struggling, if you are dealing with, it's friggin' time to ask for what we need. And how do we do that? How do we get out of ourselves and realize that we matter, our needs matter, but it's all in how we communicate them, right? And that we can get out of our head this morning that it's a negative thing. So we're going to dive into that. Let me know how you feel about it, and let me know you're out there if you want to this morning. So grab your coffee, snuggle up to your pillow, finish getting ready, whatever you're doing, and hold on tight and listen. I think this is important. This is next level recovery. A lot of you may considered it, but aren't practicing it because you don't quite get it. Well, I didn't either. So this is another area in my life that I struggle with and are personally at this moment going through. So, of course, as I told you, whatever I'm struggling with and working on, I'm going to bring to you because I know I'm not the only one. I know it. Our recovery tells us that we are not alone and we don't have to walk it alone. And there are others like us going through many of the same situations in recovery and out of recovery. So welcome to Just for Today. I'm going to challenge you this morning, and hopefully just for today, you can consider where you stand in this. And then on Friday, we're going to chop it up and talk about what we do about it, right? What do we do about it? All right. Good morning, Roberta. Roberta says, yesterday was my first day of being me again. Amen. Hallelujah. Awesome, Roberta. Well, I know what it's like to experience you being you, and that is quite an amazing experience. If any of our folks know Miss Roberta, she is full of life, and she makes you laugh, and her recovery journey is amazing, and that how she expresses it and lives out loud is amazing. So I am so glad to hear that whatever was going on, the loss that you've experienced and other things that's been going on in your life, I am so glad that you didn't sit in it long and you are back up. Thanks, Miss Roberta, for sharing that. Good morning, Christopher. I love you too. Yep, Badass Incorporated is in the house. I just turned 40 today. Happy birthday, Christopher. I wish I could sing. I'd sing happy birthday. Or if everybody on the chats could sing with me and be heard, we'd all sing it. But I'm not doing that on a live stream. But happy birthday. I feel the best I've ever felt in my whole life. And what I want is to live and everything is irrelevant. LOL. Yes. Oh, good morning, Aaron, just for today. Well, happy birthday, Chris. 40. Wow, you're just a youngster. I know it may not feel that way, but you are. But 40 years. So our prayer, and I know it because I've met Chris, and he is truly a Badass Incorporated. I expect the next 40 years to be one amazing walk in recovery. And I hope I'm alive long enough to walk beside Chris, hear about it, and experience some of the wonderful things, magnificent things that he is going to be able to do through inspiring others through his story and for just being with people, right? So thanks, Chris, for sharing, and happy birthday. All right. Good morning, Stephanie. Glad you're on. Happy Wednesday. Stephanie says, happy appearance day, Christopher. What a blessing you are to the world. Good morning, darling. Glad you're on. Thank you, Stephanie, for shouting Chris out. Everybody shout out Chris this morning. Today is his 40th birthday. Those of us that are way past 40, we're just going, wow, you're just getting started. All right, guys. Well, let's dig in. Thank you for coming on just for today. Well, it's time to ask for what we need. And this is where this started from. When on Monday, I brought you, if you weren't there, I encourage you to go back and watch it. It was something that really spoke to me and is still speaking to me, but it was about the difference between being spiritual or religious. And so within that studying and preparing for that, I came across this in my recovery material. And I know you've heard it before. Many of you have heard it before. And it's a quote by Leonardo da Vinci. And it says, "It had long since come to my attention that people of accomplishment rarely sat back and let things happen to them. They went out and happened to things." So what I did is I went in and I replaced the word recovery, right? And I said, wonder what this sounds like. It had long since come to my attention that people in recovery rarely sat back and let recovery just happen to them. They went out and happened to recovery. And that led me to think about assertiveness in my own life. And that so many times we just sit in not being able to express ourselves and ask for what we really need. We hope and pray it comes our way. Well, this saying that, and this is in my recovery material, right? So it's saying to us, being accomplished, doesn't mean that we sat back and just let it happen. We actually went out and got it, right? We went out and did the work. When we talk, there's a big group of us at PRN and that is walking in, trying to get slim and trim, be healthier in our wellness and our health. And it's one of those things, we can be envious and have all these feelings about people who are trim or healthy or fit. But, we have to go out and get that. It just doesn't happen to us. We have to make changes in our life and we have to go out and make it work, right? And, that's so true in everything that we do. So are we asking for what we need? Are we assertive, right, in our recovery? This is some work that I think is going to take a two-parter. And so I just want for everybody to consider this morning, is this something that you struggle with? Is this something that you, next level recovery, need to dive into? Some of us are living and just hoping and praying that life just happens to us, right? That everything that we hope and dream for just one day just magically appears. Yeah. Sorry, guys. We'll burst your bubble. It doesn't. It doesn't. So the things that really matter in our lives, we have some great things that happen to us that are surprise. My grandchildren may show up to see me this weekend and I go, oh my gosh, those are wonderful things. But recovery just doesn't happen. Fitness does not just happen. Healthy relationships just don't happen. The things that will make you extremely satisfied in your life just don't happen. You have to pave the way. Does that make you vulnerable? Absolutely. Are you going to be uncomfortable? Absolutely. Are you going to speak your truth? You sure are. Is it going to be popular amongst everybody? Absolutely not. But guess what? An old friend told me some years back when I was a young adult that that unless a person can climb in a pine box and die for you, they sure as hell can't live for you. That has always resonated with me, that I can listen to people, watch their experiences, but I don't have to follow in their footsteps. I don't have to do exactly what they say. Unless they can die for me, they sure can't live for me, right? So, yeah, we are going to sit in judgment. When we go after the things that we need, we are going to make ourselves and others uncomfortable. We truly are. And this thing around asking for what we need, being assertive, is crucial to getting in recovery, staying in recovery, and going next level recovery. All right, let's see who else has popped on this morning, then we're going to get with it. Good morning, Miss Sharon Ayers. So glad to see you are on. Miss Karen Soto, good morning to you. Absolutely. Yep. Karen says, guilty of the struggle. Stephanie says, faith and good works. Love it. Everybody's saying happy birthday to Chris. So if you're just coming on, send Chris a happy birthday. He's a young 40 this morning. He may not feel young, but he sure is, right? For those of us who are way past that, like, wow, Chris, you are a baby. Enjoy your day. You deserve it. You sure do. All right, let's dig in this morning. So what does it mean to be assertive in your recovery? Well, being assertive gets a bad rap. It can be stigmatized as something very negative, like being very pushy. Oh, she's very assertive, or being overbearing. But being assertive is simply communicating our needs in a healthy way. Being assertive means saying no when you need to, asking for what we need, and being willing to ask again when we don't get it. There is where I fall. But I expect people, if I don't meet a need, to come back and ask me again, because sometimes that doesn't happen and somebody gets upset with me, and then they go, well, I asked you again. I go, oh my gosh, I didn't hear you. Or, oh my gosh, it slipped my mind with everything going on, right? So don't always assume that someone is ignoring you because they just want to. Come on now. That's putting yourself in a place you shouldn't, and that person in a place you shouldn't. It's being very judgmental. Well, I asked them one time. Well, sometimes, guys, people need to be asked several times because of what they have going on in their life. Good morning, Matt. Glad to see you are on this morning. And there's my favorite Izzy in the world coming on this morning, telling everybody good morning. Let me know you're out there. So while being assertive is communication that comes from us, it is also communication that values others and demonstrates respect. It's just all around good for everybody. It is. Because if I'm going to sit down and be assertive and let you know, right, what I need in this relationship, right, then I'm also demonstrating, according to my material and what I dug in, that you are showing respect for that person. If you have no respect for someone, they're not in your inner circle, and you don't ever want them to be, and you have exiled them out for whatever reason, that's one thing. And sometimes we have to love people from a distance, right? We have to get out of things sometimes with folks because it's toxic or whatever. But if you're sitting down with someone, you're saying, look, this is what I need, right? That's putting it out there. It's valuing yourself as well as showing respect for that other person. While being assertive is communication that comes from us, just remember that. It also demonstrates respect for the other person. We can be effective in our communication without putting others down, inconveniencing them, or being inconsiderate to their feelings. Sometimes we think if we're going to put it out there, that we're going to hurt people we care about. There are people who are going to think less of us or think we are being aggressive. But you can do it without being these things. Being assertive is being strong. Listen to me, guys. Strong, calm. Here's the key word for me, authentic, but not being threatening. In recovery, one of the things we're striving for, and many things that we're striving for, is being true, not living in a lie, in a fantasy world like we had done many years. We are ready to be true, not only to ourselves, but to our universe, to our higher power. Not hiding behind a drug, not hiding behind a codependency, not hiding behind enabling, right? Or trauma. We're ready to be authentic and true. Being assertive can be simply saying no when someone asks you to do something, right? That you just can't do right now. Maybe it's not in your skill set. You don't have time, right? So it improves our relationships. When we learn to communicate our needs clearly, this can happen. No more games or trauma or drama. So when we are assertive, being able to say what we need, our relationships have to improve. It just has to be. It has to be. Whether if it's a personal, intimate relationship, your relationship with your parents, your children, your coworkers, your agency or your company you work for, your supervisor. There's just multiple layers of relationships, right? So when we're able to communicate our needs clearly, we're going to improve those relationships. No more games, guys. So just for today, I want you to think a minute. Are there relationships in your life that you're playing games in, that there is drama in? In recovery, we know that we're trying to get rid of all that. We're trying to get in serenity. We want to be in the center of the mark of where we're supposed to be. But are we still playing games? Are we playing games with our significant other? Are we playing games with our coworkers or our friends? Right? We got drama all around us because we don't express what we need. We just hope it happens. But guess what? It's not. You have to go after it. So it's time to get up, next level recovery walkers, and let's do something about that. But first of all, we've got to figure out who we are in assertiveness. Being assertive also helps us heal. So if you're like, I can't be assertive. Okay, listen to, I'm going to show you how, but I'm going to tell you that it will help you heal. Some of us have felt like we have healed as much as we possibly can, and that we still have these big holes in our heart. I'm one of those. And I thought that I had just come as far as I could come in my healing, and that this hole in my heart is just going to remain there, right? It's just going to stay that big, and I'm going to fall all the time and trip over it, right? But guess what? I'm here to tell you that when we're able to ask for what we need, quit playing games, really look at every part of our life and be able to see and recognize drama, unnecessary things that are going on that can, divert you, confuse you, keep you away from the work you need to do in your recovery. Drama equals disaster. Yeah, it does. So a lot of times drama will rise up because we have not said what we need. We expect people to be mind readers. People expect us to read their minds, right? So it's time today to decide. You ready to get out of the drama? Quit playing games. Go after what you need. Be able to say what you need. And then if you're not able to get what you need, be able to make a great choice. When you ask for what you need, and it's obvious that person is not going to fulfill it because it comes out their mouth or they show you, then you can make a very sound decision about what to do next. But when you walk around and you don't ask for what you need and you just assume, how do you make a good decision around an assumption? that is disaster because you might just be wrong. This person might just be going through something and is not able, right? Or that person is just oblivious, right, of what you're going through, what your needs are, right? Sometimes we think it's very obvious to people what we need. But I'm here to tell you that's not true. Because I can promise you there's somebody walking around in your life that is thinking to themselves, you don't meet their need. And you would go, what? Yep. Guess what? They're thinking that you just ought to know. They're thinking, well, they asked you one time 4 months ago, but they didn't realize at the time what was going on your job or with you personally, and it slipped your mind very innocently, right? Because we're human. We got a lot packed up in here. So it goes vice versa. I promise you, somebody's walking around having some little feelings about you because they asked for something or expected something to get met, a need, and you haven't met it. And you have no idea. Yep, I'm sure I do. I know you do too. So let's dig in this morning. Also, when we consider being assertive, it will decrease our stress level. We lower the need for the unhealthy people, places, and things that we're recovering from. Within recovery, we are stripped to our core emotionally. Most of us are. And we rebuild on what we find there, right? Part of that rebuilding is learning to effectively communicate our needs. If you have a sponsor, your sponsor is not a mind reader. If you have a peer support specialist, he or she is not a mind reader. We've got to communicate our needs. We've got to start doing that today. So just for today, can you really consider your style of communication? Are you assertive? Do you know how to be assertive? And do you know why it's important? Being assertive is a skill that helps us to be true to ourselves while being respectful to others. We can improve our relationships and decrease our stress levels to find a level of happiness and self-esteem. When we are assertive, we can improve our recovery and improve our lives. The manner in which one communicates plays a critical part in recovery. So a manner or how you communicate is a crucial, critical role in your recovery. Whether you are recovering and gaining strength within your mental health, you're gaining strength and recovery in your walk and, recovering from addiction, combination of trauma, whatever those things are. I'm a person that is, recovering from enabling and codependency addiction, right? And that's multi-layered, right? And we won't even go there this morning. However, communication was a big part and still is a big part in recovering from those things. All of us on here this morning can relate to that. Being assertive can help you express yourself effectively and stand up for your point of view. I don't care how long you were unwell. You matter. And when you get in recovery, your voice matters. Your point of view matters. Right? And also, while you are expressing yourself and your needs, being able to respect the rights and beliefs of others. Being assertive can also help boost your self-esteem and earn others' respect. This can help with stress management. Yes. Because a lot of times some of us have a really hard time saying no. And we say yes to everything. And the next thing we know, we are resentful, right? We're resentful. So assertiveness, right, is based on mutual respect because you're willing to stand up for your interest and express your thoughts and feelings. But it also says that you respect others' rights and you're willing to meet them halfway Resolve the conflict. Be solution focused. But guys, it's not just what you say, right? But it's also how you express it that's so important. Now, assertive communication is direct, but it's respectful, right? It gives you the best chance of successfully delivering your message without beating around the bush, right? And going down avenues that you really didn't mean to go down to through, right? Right? So here we go. Assertive. Are you assertive? Do you know what that means? Or are you passive? If your style is passive, you may seem to be shy or overly easygoing. You may routinely say things like, I'll just go with whatever the group decides. Really? Please don't say that. Please keep that to yourself, right? If you're a person that generally says, well, I'll just do what everybody else wants. And then you get upset about it later and you feel like you don't have a voice later and you get resentful of the group later. Guess whose fault that is? That be yours, right? You have to take all of that. Because when you say you'll just follow the crowd, then you give up your right to have any kind of feelings about where that crowd takes you. You hear me? Just for today, can you consider, are you assertive? Are you passive? We're going to chop that up just a second. You tend to avoid conflict if you're passive. And why is that a problem? Because the message you're sending is that your thoughts and feelings aren't as important as those of other people. In essence, you're too passive. You give others the license to disregard your wants and needs. I'm currently going through that right now. Guess whose fault it is? It's mine. It's mine. It absolutely is. So when you say yes to something that you wanted to say no to, you can't be mad later when all of a sudden you don't like it. You don't like what it's done to you. You don't like what it's done to your home. You don't want it. It's kept you from feeling safe. It's kept you from growing. Whatever that is, you kind of gave up that right to feel those things. When you said yes, you didn't put parameters around it. You didn't say how you felt, and you really wanted to say no. And now you're struggling and you sit in silence. Your attention may be keep the peace. Yeah, I've used that. I just want to keep the peace. But all the while I'm stressed. I feel resentment. It holds me back in my recovery. It affects my job. It affects every relationship I have. I just feel about it, right? And it just hangs over me like a dark cloud. But always saying yes can poison your relationships. And worse, it can cause your internal conflict because your needs and those of your family are always coming second, right? So when you're passive, you can have lots of stress, resentment, anger, feeling like you're the victim. And sometimes you want revenge. So what about being passive, being aggressive? So are you assertive? Are you passive? Are you aggressive? Now consider the flip side, this aggressive side. You may come across as a bully who disregards the needs, feelings, and opinions of others. Right? Think about it a minute. Am I describing you? Right? You don't have to raise your hand or say anything about that one. You may appear self-righteous or superior. If this is not you, you may have encountered someone that's aggressive, right? Very aggressive people tend to humiliate and intimidate others and may even be physically threatening. You may think that being aggressive gets you what you want. However, it comes at a cost. Aggressive undercuts trust and mutual respect. If you've been in a meeting at work or maybe in the recovery rooms and somebody is very aggressive and you can't tell me how you made me feel. So if your words and your aggressiveness made me feel less than, made me feel not safe, then you're being aggressive, right? Being aggressive. It can undercut that trust. I may not want to hear from you. And it's that mutual respect. Others may come to resent you, leading them to avoid or oppose you. If you've been in that meeting and that one staff member or leader is so aggressive with the things that they feel like the company should do or not do, and it's just overpowering. And you can see people who are very passive just sit back and go, I am not approaching that person. And then you'll see people try to get out of meetings when this person is there. It can be very ugly. Aggressive communications are those who will stand up for their own rights or that of others in such a way that it violates the rights or safety of someone else. People who are aggressive communicators have this is what my material said, can have extremely low self-esteem and have an overdeveloped defense mechanism. Now, a lot of times, that's not, we're not judging people who are aggressive. We know there's a why behind the what, definitely. So if you know that you're one of those aggressive people, we know that there's something that's happened in your life, right? And so it can be that defense mechanism, but it is very overdeveloped. And it usually comes from a sense of powerlessness, right? So your experience for most of your life you felt powerlessness, and that you had no power. It was stripped from you. Maybe you were incarcerated. Maybe you were in an abusive relationship for years. Maybe you were abused and just felt captive as a young person within your family or your church or wherever the trust was broken, the hurt happened, right? Right. And we felt hopeless. And sometimes we even get into early recovery. We can come out aggressive. You can see people be aggressive in early recovery. So those of you who feel like you're not aggressive, be very gentle and kind with people who are, if you can, especially in the recovery rooms, because we know people early on can be that. They can also be very passive, right? But they can always come out swinging, right? So just be understanding to know that it is coming from a place where their power was stripped from them. And we may not know what, who, and where this power was taken and for how long. So modeling what we hope folks will adhere to, just being that person who be patient with those of us in early recovery. So we don't want to humiliate people. I've seen it done in the recovery rooms. I was a part of a conversation. It wasn't actually in the room. It was outside the room. And there was like 4 or 5 of us standing there. And there was a member of the group that was very aggressive toward a new member about the path he was on in his recovery. And he pretty much told him to go pick out his casket because he was going to die. And needless to say, this person never entered another recovery room right out the gate. So be very, very careful, recovery people, that you don't come off aggressive to people who are trying to figure this recovery thing out. And it doesn't have to look like yours. So just saying, right? Speak loudly over other people. They're impulsive. They insults, criticize, threaten, or blame people, not listening well, right? So yeah, it's if it's you, you're probably feeling it right now. And if it's someone you know, you're probably kind of experiencing something as I read this list. But aggressive communicators completely disregard the feelings, opinions, and rights of others and will always put their own first. Persons in recovery who still use aggressive communication are likely to behave that they are not in the wrong, right? We know that person. And I hope if you are that person, you will consider working on that, because we all have the tendency to think we got it, right? We know what to say. We know what to do, right? In this way, aggressive communication will only hinder the recovery process. So what about you aggressive behaviors. Now, I thought I knew what passive aggressive was till I dug in this week to this, and I have to say it stepped all over my little pinky toes. So I would imagine it's going to step on some of your pinky toes this morning too. So let me see what comments we got. We're going to dive in briefly to this. We're going to shut it down, and then Friday we're going to pick up where we left off on this discussion. But I see a lot of chats going on. All right. Woo, goodness, guys, y'all are putting it in. All right. So Christopher's telling everybody you have to be number one. Everything else is just after that because you are all that matters. Because if you are not number one, then life is pointless. Izzy, I love you up close. Roberta's got her crazy cats going wild again this morning. Roberta says, drama is trauma. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. I think a lot of us, Roberta, have a long road in our healing. Absolutely. Stephanie says, I've learned that healing isn't always linear. It's more like circles and cycles. I love that. 1 step forward, 2 steps back, 1 step back, 3 steps forward. It's kind of like a cha-cha. Those of you who like to dance, it's the dance of recovery. Absolutely. Stephanie, you nailed it. You nailed it. Christopher says, I got the best sponsor in the whole world. Amen. Amen. And she is a true healer and my BFF. Awesome. Yep. Let's see. Yeah, he told us, Deidre, it was his birthday. So everybody's been shouting him out. Happy birthday. The young 40 Chris. Absolutely. Stephanie says, my needs were not met as a child. And as a result, I've been teaching my daughter and myself by extension to ask for what you need since she was about 3 years old, remembering that, that saved her life when she was 10. I am so glad to continue learning this lesson. And thank you so much for sharing. You are so welcome. Yeah, start your children out young. Ask for what you need. Stop all the manipulations, right? Don't be passive. Don't be aggressive, right? So let's see about this passive aggressive part too, right? Christopher says we can talk the talk all we want, but in order to be a badass, you got to walk the walk and be about what you talk about. That's right. Because people in recovery, early recovery, are watching us, our family, our friends, our neighbors. We just never know. Would somebody want your recovery? We know they didn't want our wellness, but would they want your recovery? All right, let's see what else we got here. Deidre says we teach others how to treat us. Yep, we do. Yep, and that was when I first heard that, man, that just knocked me on my you know what. And I said, you know what? Amen to that. That was a very powerful statement and helped me figure out how to get my power back, right? Chris says, take the resentment you got and throw it all out the window and start living the life you want, not the one everyone else expects you to live, right? If they can't get in that old pine box for you, they sure can't live for you, right, Christopher? Absolutely. Christopher says, well, I love all of you beautiful people, but it's time for me to go show the world how much badass I am. Well, thank you, Christopher, and happy birthday to you. Deidre says, then there's passive aggressive, something I'm working on. We're going to talk about that next for just a brief moment. Yep. Roberta agreeing about people that are aggressive, about the fear that drives them. Yep. We got family in our lives that are struggling with this. Yep. Yeah, Deidre said, would someone want to pick up what I'm laying down? Who would want what I have? Exactly. All right, guys, very briefly, Chris says, I'll take it. Deidre, I know you're putting down great things. You're definitely doing the walk. You surely are. And Christopher is too. And so many of you are. So yeah, passive aggressive. If you communicate in a passive aggressive manner, you may say yes when you want to say no. You may be sarcastic or complain about others behind their backs. Rather than confront an issue directly, you may show your anger and feelings through your actions and negative attitude. You may have developed a passive-aggressive style because you're uncomfortable being direct about your needs and feelings. What are the drawbacks of being passive-aggressive? Over time, it can damage relationships and undercut mutual respect, which makes it difficult for you to get your goals and needs met, right? Very much so. So what are you this morning, just for today? Are you assertive? Are you passive? Are you aggressive? Are you passive aggressive, right? Where do you think you stand this morning? Where do you think you stand this morning? Next level recovery. If you're not getting your needs met, I challenge you this morning to figure out how you asking, or are you asking? If you're assertive, are you respectful? If you're passive, you're probably pouting. If you're aggressive, you don't understand why everybody goes the other way when you come down the hall. If you're passive aggressive, people are kind of looking at you with, sideways a little bit, right? Just for today, can you consider how you communicate your needs? Are you communicating your needs? Guess whose responsibility it is, guys? It is yours. So for the last time, I'm going to read for you. We'll pick back up on Friday because there's hope for this. So I want you to be thinking about it. Dig in your own recovery. Think for yourself. But remember, so all I did is I took Leonardo da Vinci's quote and I put recovery in it. So I'm going to end in this. Just for today, it had long since come to my attention that people in recovery rarely sat back and let recovery just happen to them. They went out and happened to recovery. Just for today, where you are with your communication. Are you getting your needs met? Do you want to be more assertive? Then dig into your own discoveries. But on Friday, we're going to talk about that, about how can we be more assertive, keep the respect and the dignity, and be confident in our communications, right? And it's not easy, and it does take practice, and we're going to talk about that on Friday. But time's up, guys. I got to go to Charlotte. You guys got to get on with your lives today. Have a beautiful day for just for today. It's time to ask for what we need. And if you're not getting your needs met, guess what? It is your own work. You got to go after it. If it's not coming to you, don't sit back and be satisfied. Be assertive, but do it with respect and love. And we're going to continue that conversation on Friday. But just for today, have a beautiful day. Yes, Deidre says people in recovery are the true rock stars. There's nothing more beautiful, amazing, and inspirational than someone who is in recovery. Bottom line. That's been my experience, right? It's time to ask for what we need. So just for today, we'll pick this back up on Friday. Hope you guys have a great Wednesday, hump day, and we'll see you on Friday. Love you guys, and we will see you at 6:30 on Friday. Share this if you will, if you feel the need. There's someone out there that might need to hear about why they're not getting their needs met and what they can do about it. And it's their responsibility, just like it's ours. I love you guys. See you on Friday. Bye.